Want to turn any image into a stunning video without any coding or expensive software? And in today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how we can do that by leveraging a platform called Replicate, where we only pay for what we need and it's incredibly cheap. And we're going to be using Telegram, as you can see on the left-hand side here, to send the requests off. We've got a few demos here in the background already showing how we can take some of the images that are out there and get them to look ultra realistic in the background, just for some of the tasks and activities that we want them to do. We're looking at only 8 cents per second of video that we generate, and the quality is absolutely fantastic. But first, let's jump into a quick demo to see exactly how it works. All you need to do is come down and attach the image that you want to use. So for example, here we could come down and choose an image of a night sky with a car. And we could say, please change it so that the sky becomes daylight behind the car and person. We'll be able to execute the workflow. We'll then send this off. What it's going to do is upload our request into our Telegram chat that we've got here, so we can use this anywhere in the world. We're then going to receive the request through Telegram in n8n. We're going to go through and analyze what that image currently looks like to make sure that that prompt that we're going to output for the video is really good. And as we can see here, we've got a really finely tuned prompt in there as well to make sure that we get the best output possible. We're then going through and temporarily storing the image in imgb. This is so we can then use the web URL that's generated to be able to pass it off to our Replicate platform, which in this case is using Hailuo 2, and that is only 8 cents per second of video. For comparison, you're looking at around 75 cents per second from something like Google's VO3 model, or around 15 cents from something like Kling 2.1. We're going to go through and try and get the status of this, and then once it's actually generated the image for us, we'll be able to come back and get it. So there we go, we've now got our request coming back. We're making sure that we get that video coming back, and as you can see on the left hand side, that's come back incredibly quickly. And if I just show you what we input, this was that image that we put into our request, and the output that we got, as we can see in the background here, I think that looks absolutely fantastic. Again, this is 1080p quality, and it only cost us 8 cents per second of video that we output. So for example, here to get this entire output is less than 1 second using Google's VO3 model. And if you want to get access to this, all you need to do is come across to our community, link below, come across to Classroom. Then you need to come into where we've got lots of the different content in here, but a key one today is around AI video generation. And then you'll find this one here, which is Autopilot stunning AI images. We've got all of the different instructions, curl requests, prompts, everything we're going to be using today, and the blueprint. So if you just want to download this, you'll get access to it for free as mentioned. Come across to a new environment, 3 dots, import from file, load up the blueprint, and it will be ready to go for you straight away. You just need to change your API keys. But let's go through and build it from scratch together today. So first things first, we're going to get rid of all of these, but we're going to leave our steps in the process so we can track it as we go through. So first, we're going to need to add a new node. In this case, I'm going to be using Telegram to be able to get our requests. We're going to do on a message for our trigger. We're going to need to add our account in here. So we'll come down and create a new credential, and we're going to need this access token. Now to find that, you want to come back across to your Telegram account, and you want to come up to the top and search for bot father. It will be the one with the blue tick next to it. You want to click into there, and then what you should see is a message that looks like this right at the start. And this is how we're going to be setting up our bot to receive the requests and send it across to n8n. You want to click where it's got new bot. This is going to help us set up a new bot straight away. So we'll give it a new name. In this case, we're going to do image to video. We can say demo. We're then going to need to make it into a bot account. So we'll copy this again, put it at the bottom and do bot at the end. We'll just need to change actually where it's got the hyphens so that they're underscores. So there we go. We'll add the new name for the bot. We'll send this off, and now it's going to be all generated for us. We need to get this API token here. copy this, paste in there, do save, and then we'll be all connected for this specific account. If you've got multiple ones, make sure to name it. So in this case, we can do image to video so that we know that it's this specific text, this specific chat that we've got the access to. You then want to click on the link here and it will take you through. So you've got that new messages able to go through for that specific agent. We'll do execute step and it will get this first message that comes through, which is just starting us off. If you want to go through and generate a request, we're going to come through and do a file. This is where we can upload our images. So for example, here we've got a lady that stood in front of a background. We'll be able to upload that and say, please have it so she starts running towards the camera and the sky turns dark and mystical. We'll be able to press execute step. This is going to listen for this message in the background. We'll be able to send it off. This is going to take a little while to upload, but as you can see, they're still incredibly quick. And now we've got all of the details on the right-hand side for us to be able to use. One thing you're going to need to change is this download image files, because as you can see, we've got nothing there at the moment. If we turn on download files and just resend this request, what we'll be able to do is get a binary file so that we can actually use that a bit later on. So now if we retest the step, we'll wait for that to come through. And as you can see, we've now got that data, i.e. the image that we're going to be using, as well as all of the messaging that goes with it. Next, we're going to come through and need to understand what's in that image. So we're going to come through and use OpenAI. We're going to come down and do Analyze image. We're going to make sure we've got our account connected. If you've not done this before, go through to Playground of OpenAI, create a key there, and then bring it back into here, and you'll only be billed on what you actually use. We've got one ready to go though, so I'm going to use that. We're going to use the latest ChatGPT 4.0 model. We're going to come down and change it from URLs to binary files, and you need to make sure the data here matches data here, so it knows what file it's putting across. We're then going to change the text input, so we'll put this to expression and pop it up. We're then going to come across to the community, go up to this first step here, and we're going to get this first Analyze image prompt. So we'll be able to copy all of this, come back across, and then paste in here. Now this may look like a super long prompt, and that's because it is, but what we're doing is giving it really clear guidance on how to analyze that image. So for example, what's the setting? Are there any elements involved, objects, any people or characters, the artistic style, any mood or emotion in the image, and that output format for what we're looking for. We've given it a few examples of what a good and bad output looks like as well, to make sure we really get the output that we need. If we do test step, what it's now doing in the background is analyzing that image for us automatically, and it's going to produce the output for us on the right hand side, which is that new text-based description of what that image looks like. So as you can see, again, image on the left, a solitary figure stands in the middle of a vast, blinding white desert expanse, and much, much more. So we know it's able to see the image. Once we've done this, to get our request built out, we can use either an AI agent, which is here, or we can use a basic LLM chain. Both of them are suitable for this use case. I'm going to use basic LLM just for this example. We're going to open this up, and then what we need to do is user request, come down to the Telegram trigger, and then we're looking for where we've got caption here. We're going to pull this across because this is going to be the caption that went with the image, so we know what our request is from the user. We're then going to say description of image, and then we'll come back up to where we had our Analyze OpenAI image module, and we'll pull that across. And now one of the great things about n8n, on the right hand side, we can see exactly what that AI is going to be ingesting to get the output. We're going to say that we need a specific output as well, and we're going to need to add our prompt in here. Now we want it to be a system prompt, but we're going to add the message in here, which is going to be that specific instruction. We'll come back across to the community. We're going to copy the prompt that's ready to go here, and we've structured the prompt so that if I paste it in here, we've given it a really clear best practice example on how to get those outputs. So subject, action, environment, camera description, style/tone, lighting, and temporal control. And these are some of the key elements that you need to include in your AI video prompting to make sure that you get the output that you really want. The more detail you give it, the better the output's going to be to a certain extent. Now we're going to come out of here and we're going to do save. The reason I like these is because we can now come through and choose all of the different LLMs that are available. But for today, we're going to keep it nice and cheap with ChatGPT 4.1 mini, and we're just going to pull this across to the AI tools. The output parser, we're going to come through and use the structured JSON output, and we're going to need to make some updates in here. So what we want to do is paste it in here, and we're looking for that request title to be outputted and the actual prompt that we're going to be using. We'll come out of here and do save and then pull this across. So now we're able to get the request, analyze the image, and generate an AI video prompt. If you like this video, please make sure to subscribe. We've got lots of other videos on the channel around AI, agents, automation, and much more. And if you're interested in learning more around AI, automation, what you can do, image generation, definitely check this video out in the background, which is all around using Flux context to get really great, consistent, and stunning AI images. And again, you'll get access to that in the resources as well. So as you can see here, running through in the background now, and if I open this up any second now, we should get that title that's come through, and we've got that prompt of what we want it to do based on the description and the caption we provided. We're going to do save. Next, we're going to come through and need to store that image. So first, we need a merge module, because as you can see at the moment, we don't have that image readily available, that data file like we have right at the start. So we need to pull down our Telegram trigger so that we're able to use it later on. So now if I connect this up and we do combine instead, all matching possible combinations and execute step, what we'll see is that as the output, we'll now have that image again available for us to use and all of the details from earlier on. We're going to come through and do a binary conversion, because the way that we're storing it with imgb is it needs to be in a base 64 string, which if I just execute this is basically a really long text line, as you can see here, that we're able to use instead. So now if I pull this across, what we're going to do is come through and do a HTTP request, and we're going to be sending off a request to store the image. Now there's this completely free platform to use, which is called imgb. You can store it for a longer period of time if you upgrade to the account, but you can do this totally for free with temporary storage using their API request. I'll include the link below so you can find it nice and easy. You want to copy this curl request, or if you come across to the community, we've got it updated with some of the actual variables and copy this across. What we've actually done is got it ready to go so that all we need to do is change it to be expression, and it's automatically going to put across the data here for the request we're sending off. You are going to need to change your API key. So again, come back across into imgbb, and as you can see at the top, you can add a new key. I've already got one ready to go, so we'll copy this. We're then going to come back across and just paste in here where it says key. Now we're going to come out of here and do save, execute the step, and it's going to store that image for us temporarily, because as you can see here, we've got that 600, i.e. temporary storage for this. Once it comes back, we know that we've got that URL, which is a JPEG, which is great because that's how that image has come through that we'll be able to use later on. Next up, we're going to get into the fun part around generating that video from the image. So we're going to do a HTTP request, and now we're going to need to go across to replicate. So once you come onto here, it looks like this. And what we're looking for is a actual explore module, and they've got video models. Now they've got lots and lots on here for you to choose. So for example, if you wanted to use C-Dance 1 Pro, you'd be able to use this instead as well. They've got Google VO3, lots and lots of different ones on here, Kling, so you can access them nice and easily. But what I really like about Replicate is we're only paying for what we use versus being tied into a subscription. And as you can see here, if you wanted that more 750p, that below HD, you're looking at around 0.045 cents per second of output. Or if you got to that 1080p, you're looking at around 8 cents per second of output. So really cost effective. We're going to come across to where it's got run with API, and then we come down to HTTP request, and you need to copy all of this. Now, in the schema, it's going to describe exactly how you can send this across. So we've made a few changes and updated that in our community. If we come in here, we'll copy this, we'll then come back across and import the curl. So what we've done is we've made sure that that input is able to put across the URL of the image. So we'll pull that to the left, and that's this URL here. So just to show you how to replace it, you want to get rid of this and then put across the URL from that HTTP request of where we stored the image in imgb. The prompt, we're going to need to change this because this will have a different name depending on how you've done it. We're going to pull this across from our basic LLM chain, and now we've got it, as you can see on the right hand side, exactly what that request is being sent through. Everything's going to be done in 6 seconds and everything is done in 1080p, but if you wanted to change that, you can do it in the settings, or you can make it dynamic, so every time you send a request across, it can pull out whether it's 1080p or 750p. You're also going to need to add your API token, so if we come back across, you want to come up to your account, API and tokens, and then create one in here. I've already got one ready to go, so we'll copy this, come back across, and then we're going to paste it in. Now, before we send this off, what we're going to do is come out of here and do save, because this can take between 3 to 5 minutes to generate. We need an if statement to check that that output has come back, or if we need to wait a little bit longer before we can re-request it. We're going to do a wait module in here, and then again we're going to do another HTTP request, because we're going to need to get that status of the current video. We'll pull this around up to the top. We'll actually send this off so we can start that process. And then what we'll see is after it's gone off, it will look empty at the start because it takes that couple of minutes to generate the actual video. So there we go. We've got our response back, but the output is currently null. So what we want to do is if statement. We want to put across the output and we want to change this so string is not empty. So what we're saying is if it's not empty, we're going to go through this false path down the bottom. If it is actually containing something, we'll go through the top one here. So now what we see on the right hand side is it will come through that false branch, because what we're saying is that it's actually still empty at the moment. So we know that it's got no data, we've not got that output. We'll be able to do execute steps. So in this case, it's going to wait 5 seconds. You can play around with this as much as you want to see how long it works for you. I've kept it at 5 seconds just because as we go through and iterate, we want to get the result as quickly as possible. In our next one here, this is going to be where we get video and status. And what we need to do is come down to where we've got this get URL in here, add it in here, and then we also need to add a header, which is going to be the authorization. So the quickest and easiest way is to come back to the request that you sent off, paste it in here, and then add the bearer token as well. So now what we've done is in here, this is the video generation module. We've just taken the access tokens from there. And now if we come back through and activate this, what we should see is if I execute the step, we've got all of this information coming back again, but we're checking if that output module is still full. So there we can see it's still null, so we haven't got that result back. We're going to come through and duplicate this and then add it up the top because it's exactly the same for that output of what we're trying to achieve. What we are going to do is remove this and then put across the output because we've got the if statement here, which basically means if it is empty, we're going to keep looping through until that video is created. But if the video is generated, we'll know because that output field will have a URL, so we'll be able to go through and download the image. To make sure it's in the right format, come down to options. You then want to look for the response. You'll come down here to response format and change it to file. We'll then do execute step. And what this will mean is it will just help us loop through here until that video has been created for us, so we can go through and get that output. So we're just going to have to send a request off again because it's taking too long for us to get through and just build that quick bit there, that the image is actually timed out. So we'll just send this off again and then we'll do execute workflow. And what we should see is that it will start the process for us automatically in the background, as we can see there. So now we'll just wait for it to come back once it's generated that video, and I'll show you how to store it in Google Drive and get it back into Telegram. So there we go, we've now got it back. So as we can see here, we've got that video ready to go in the background, As you can see, it was that request that we sent off, which is how she's going to be running away from the camera, and the sky is going to go a bit more mystical. Now, because these are expensive, we want to save them, so we want to come through and do Google and then Drive, and we want to upload a file, which is here. Now, you want to make sure that you come through and create a new credential in here. I'll include the link below around n8n's documentation on exactly how to do this, as well as the video on YouTube that they've got that walks you through getting this all set up, because it takes a little bit of time and it's just saving it in this video. So we'll come back across, we'll use the account that we've already got ready to go. You need to make sure that you've got file, upload, and then data here matches data here. Then we want to give it a file name. So if we come out of here, this is where we want to come back to where we've got our request basic LLM chain, and we'll put across that title so we can save it. Now I've got a folder where I'm saving all of these, which is just called image to video. So there we go, we'll add that in here. And if I actually come across to the folder, as you can see here, we're saving all of the different ones we generate. So if we wanted to use them in the future, we could do that as well. If I come back across, we'll be able to do execute step. And now what we should see is a load of data that comes back on the right hand side, which means it's successfully uploaded into our Google Drive. So again, we've got access to it in the future. So that's all green there. If I just refresh this and then we change it to date modified, we've got it there ready to go. So we'll come back across, we'll come out of here. We then want to return the video into our Telegram chat. So to do that, we need a merge module. Similar to before, because now we've uploaded it, we now need to make sure that we've got both the binary file as well as the text data to send back. So as we can see here, we need to make sure that we connect where we've got our get video module. We've got our get video module. We'll pull that across to the merge. So now what you'll see is if I execute this, we've got all of the data, which is both the binary file, i.e. the actual video that we've generated, as you can see here, as well as the schema, i.e. all of the other stuff that we've generated so far. So to return it back into this chat, we're going to need to add another Telegram module, Telegram. We're then going to look for send a video. There we go. What we're looking for is making sure that we're using that same account that we generated it with earlier on. So make sure that they line up. We need that chat ID. So again, coming out of here, back to that Telegram trigger. We want that chat ID in there, so we'll pull that across. We've then got the video here, which is going to be a binary file. And again, you need to make sure the data here matches data here. If you want to add some more fields in here, we can do that. So for example, a caption, we could say your video is ready. And then what we're able to do here is actually add another one, which is around reply to message ID. So now if we come back to schema, close this down, back to our Telegram, we'll see we've got that message ID there. If you pull that across, it will now tag it to our specific message that we've sent through. So if I do execute step, what we should see any second now is it uploads it back into our chat so that we can use that later on. So there we go, it's now all uploaded back into our chat. As we can see here, we've got access to that video if we wanted to use it again in the future. Again, we only paid 8 cents per second of that coming back. And if we come back to some of the other ones that we generated earlier on, ones that are able to use ladies like this for turning around, I think is absolutely fantastic for lots of use cases out there, as well as how realistic videos like this look, which is one that was very popular for Google VO3. If you're interested in learning more about this or getting access to lots of other resources around AI and automation, make sure to come across to our community. There's a free 7-day trial, and we've got lots of other ones in here from AI agents, as you can see, or we've got specific masterclasses. So if you want to take your AI image generation to the next level, definitely check out this one here. Stay tuned for more around AI agents, automation, and have a great day.